when we're in a hole, doing more yearning and wanting and needing and craving and doing as we're being taught to do, it doesn't really fix it. It's because the energy that we're coming from is an energy of lack. And lack actually creates a space inside of us, this energetic space that manifests more lack.
Hanna Bier, I'm so excited that you're here today. I'm so grateful for your time, and I can't wait for the wonderful conversation that we're having. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to my podcast.
I'm so excited you've asked me to be on. I'm really honored to be a guest.
Me too, because we're talking about a topic that is so important, but very, very often avoided. But before we dive deep into the topic of money, would you give us like a 2-minute elevator pitch about who you are, what you're doing, what you're helping women with?
Yeah, my name is Hanna Bier. I live in the German countryside. I've got a little family, and when we're not out playing in the mud and in the woods, I'm a money mentor and money energy healer. I work with really ambitious women from all over the world, and I help them heal their relationship with money from the inside out. The work that I'm known for is called Money Bliss, and it's actually already in the name. So we do the money healing, setting up your finances, making sure that you always receive a lot of money, have a lot of money, make a really good profit, achieve your money goals. And then we also do the inner healing that brings you more joy, more peace, more satisfaction, more happiness. And that is the bliss part of my work. And I believe that the two go hand in hand. I believe that life becomes really fun and adventurous when you've got lots of money, but also the emotional capacity to really enjoy it.
Oh, that's so beautiful. What would you say is money bliss?
Yeah, money bliss is a new paradigm with money. I believe that the current paradigm with money not only doesn't work to help us create what it is that we want, but most of us actually really hate it. And so the current money paradigm is I have to work hard for money. Money is the reason why I can't do some things and why I have to do other things that I don't really prefer. For most of us, money is the source of guilt and shame and overwhelm. And we live in this society of more, more, more. I remember when I first started my business, being a 6-figure business owner was the most amazing thing. And then the next year it was, multiple 6 figures and 7 figures and 8 figures. So we're always striving for more and more and more and more money. But for many of us, it's a hamster wheel that never ends. Even my clients who are millionaires or multimillionaires, they know somebody who makes more money than them. And so we're constantly trapped in the cycle of dissatisfaction, regardless of how much money we make. And money bliss is the approach that I've developed that helps us break out of that. Money bliss is the way to relate to money that, yes, brings lots and lots and lots of financial resources, because they're wonderful for buying grandma flowers and having a really wonderful home and for booking that retreat in Costa Rica without even thinking twice. Like, money is amazing for helping us make decisions based on soul. And so I really wanted to find a way to approach money and to do money that is not stressful, that is really peaceful, and that pulls us more deeply into life, that lets us live more versus constantly be preoccupied with money. I really want my clients to think about more interesting things than money. So I kind of want to get the money out of the way, know that that's all taken care of so they can go live and pursue their projects and worry about their parenting and worry about things that are so much more important.
That's incredible. What would you say from a money bliss perspective? What is money? Because, you hear in the spiritual world so often, money is love, money is energy, but then actually we as a physical thing see money as these either paper things or as numbers on our bank statement. So it's a very intangible, even though we have the paper, but still it's like actually just a piece of paper, So I think the reason why a lot of people struggle with money is because it's very intangible. So from a money bliss perspective, how can we see money?
Yeah, so on planet Earth, money is a means of exchange. It is a placeholder for value. Once upon a time when we were trading, say, like cows for corn, money was the placeholder for the value that we were exchanging. And in a way, money is also a means of appreciation. Like you grew this corn and I appreciate you, so I give you money to receive it in return. That is historically what money has been and what money has become. On a deeper emotional level, money really is an expression of love. When we were little children, it was our parents' job to meet our needs. And ideally, they would have done that, right? Ideally, our parents would have been our source of love and validation and food and shelter and all of those things. Ideally, our parents would have met our needs and would have grown up knowing what it feels like to be safe and whole and loved and all those things. Most of our parents, if not all of our parents, were human. So they had some imperfections, and they weren't always able to meet our needs perfectly. And so many of us grew up feeling this like deficit, or feeling like the love that we receive comes with a condition or is really volatile. And so as we grow up, money to some extent replaces the love from our parents, because now we use money to care for ourselves. We use money to buy a beautiful home and furnish it. We use money to buy food. We use money to give us great experiences. We use money to buy the coaches and courses that help us grow as people. So money is really important to meet our needs and to bring our desires to fruition. That is why it's so emotionally charged. It is a means of loving ourselves. And the way money flows in our life today directly correlates with how love flowed between us and our main caregivers when we were little. That explains, if anybody is listening who's like quite a smart person and is quite ambitious and you can make stuff happen, but maybe for you, money feels like the thing that you just can't seem to figure out. And even when money is going well, it just doesn't feel good. And that is, that is why money is so emotionally charged. It's because it needs deeper emotional healing than just, set a budget, invest in this way, make a profit. Like the tangible money actions are important, but we also need to heal the deeper emotional wounds that occurred between us and our parents when we were little, so we can open up our capacity to receive lots of love. And when that happens, we can receive lots of love in the form of money. It can feel safe, right, and good in our bodies to always receive a lot, to always have a lot, to spend money with joy, to trust that there's always more coming, to trust that life knows what it's doing, to trust that everything that we need, all the resources, will always be given to us, and that we can, find the means to do what it is that we want to do. So on the surface, money seems like, it's a means of exchange. But when we look much deeper, it explains why so many of us have a really complicated relationship with money.
So would you say that if we are struggling with money, that it's always actually not based to the superficial, like our bank account, our job, whatever the ties with our money in our physical life is, but that it's always linked to the relationship with our caretakers?
Yes. So the tangible everyday money actions are important, obviously. The amount of income that you make and the profit that you keep and the way that you organize your money, what goes in savings, what goes toward my investments, how do I spend, and what do I spend it on? Like, all of those things are important, and there are some timeless best practices that I teach in my work, and that are really, really, really important to learn. But that's just like 10% of the magic. The 90% of the magic really is the emotional healing, and it does always go back to your family of origin. All of us know that our biggest issues come from our family of origin, and all of us have a certain wealth set point. So for example, if in your family it is normal for people to earn $2,000 a month on average, and then you try to go for $20,000 and you haven't done the family healing piece, it is very likely that you'll stay at 2,000, that no matter what marketing strategies you implement or how many promotions you go for, something will happen. It's almost like invisible hands will guide you back to that wealth set point. And so this is why it's so important to do the family healing piece. I always tell people, like, I can't work on your money without taking your family of origin into account, because out of love and loyalty to the people who gave us life, we will always prioritize the belonging to them. Like that's unconsciously, this is how we're wired as human beings, because with our families, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't survive. And so for your consciousness, it's always more important to bond with your family than to pursue your own goals. But when we can restore the flow of love between you and your family members energetically, then you're free to earn as much money as you want. And so this is like the fun thing where when the family piece is healed, and that actually doesn't take very long or it's very difficult to do, then we can just really focus on your soul money goals. We can think about, what is the lifestyle that best fits you? What's the money-making vehicle that best fits you? Is it a job? Is it a business? Is it two businesses? Is it a job and a business? Is it nothing really like this? Do you just manifest money on the side? We can figure that out. We can think about what's the perfect income for you? What's the perfect profit margin for you? What's a savings goal that would feel really good? How can we organize your life and your finances to really support what you would like so you can live really congruently with what makes you feel amazing? And it actually becomes really easy to implement these things when there's not like this unconscious pull from the family system back into old non-supportive patterns.
Would you say it's more that my mom always used to say, for example, the money is the root of all evil, or all these sayings that they are there, and therefore this is a pure example, learned that money is bad and so on, and my family ties, I don't want my mom to think that I'm evil, so therefore I don't make more money. So is it more that those beliefs are passed down, or is it more because you meant before that money is an expression of love? So let's say I never received the love from my mom that I craved for. That is this the reason why I deep down believe I don't deserve the money because money is an expression for love. You know what I mean? Or is it a combination of both?
It is a combination, but what holds more weight is the feeling of love that you received as a child.
Mm-hmm.
The beliefs can sometimes be very sticky, and the beliefs can sometimes reinforce this feeling that you had as a child, but the beliefs aren't as important. So in my experience, it's really important it's like you have this capacity in your body to experience love. And when it's wide open, imagine like a puppy and a kitten being born. Like they have a huge capacity for love. They know they're so adorable. Like look at a little puppy. It's like, love me, play with me. And they bite you and they're like, doesn't matter. I'm so cute. Nobody can be mad at me. And just this like endless like giving of love and receiving of love, and just like, this wide open heart that little babies and kittens and dogs have. That is like a gigantic capacity for love that all of us were born with. And then things happen, then we learn that our parents' love is conditional. We learn that if we're being the good little girl or the good little boy, or if we're being exactly the role that we're being prescribed in our families, that's only then will we get love. And then as we grow up, it's this feeling of love in the form of money also comes with a catch. I need to perform a role. Only if I do this will I receive money. Or for many, it feels like love was never enough. Like your parents just weren't able to give you all the love that you really needed. And then it can also feel later on as though money is always really scarce. Or maybe your parents were sometimes able to really love you and care for you, and other times they weren't. And then there's this feeling of sometimes I have it, sometimes I don't, sometimes it's dependable, sometimes I don't. And this capacity for love sits in the body, and that's where it can be healed. And this is where, we work on money in my line of work, but really it benefits all areas of your life, because when you're back to being an amazing receiver of love, you not only receive and have oodles and oodles of love, but also you can receive love in other forms. You can have a really healthy body and always take great care of yourself. You can give yourself the experiences that you've always wanted. You can feel good enough to make connections with people who you've been looking up to. You can pursue new creative projects and all of those things. Like you can give good things to yourself, and you actually have the capacity to receive them. So I know that often times we hear, well, you need to heal your beliefs to receive more money. It's not just that. There's a faster way to heal the money piece than to go to the beliefs, in my experience.
So fascinating. Like this is Such an important conversation to have because, as you said in the beginning, like, to be honest, like, our focus needs to be on other things than just how can we pay our rent, how can we, make means and, like, to really enjoy life. But then I hardly know women who talk about this. Why is that? That women so often, that it's almost like a forbidden topic for us women.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's this unspoken agreement that talking about money makes you, I always felt like it made you a prig, or it's too vulnerable, or it's like it's show offy and it's weird. But we only feel this way when we connect money with our sense of self-worth. And that's what's currently being done in most of the money conversations, where it's implied that when you earn more money, like you're cooler, you're a better person, or you're more successful and you've made it. And so you should be proud of yourself. And when you earn less, that you're not. And so at its core, all of us know that being an entrepreneur isn't better than being an employee. We know that being a millionaire isn't better or worse than earning, I don't know, 40,000 a year. Like, money really has nothing to say about our own sense of self-worth. And I believe that all of us have like our perfect money numbers. I call them soul money numbers. For some of my clients, if they earn 4,000 euros a month, that's an amazing income goal, and that helps them achieve everything that they want to achieve. It's amazing for them. It's just perfect. For some of my clients, 50,000 a month isn't enough because that's just not what their money soul number is. For them, it's like 60,000. So that's what we go create. And so when we stop thinking like more money is better, and we stop with the power over power under power dynamics around money, and the all of that stuff that is implied, then we can be honest with ourselves about what we really want and what financial resources are really right for us. And we can create that, and we can have money conversations, not from a place of they're better than me and I should be ashamed because I'm not making six figures and but we can figure out, this is my path. This is what I want to do. This is what feels right for me. And then we can have money conversations without constantly feeling like our own self-worth is being attacked. And I think that's the other piece around it, where we don't even really want to have money conversations, because then, am I admitting that I'm not successful? And does that mean that I'm not smart? Does that mean that I'm somehow flawed? And yeah, I think that is a very big obstacle to us even talking about it. But I really hope that that a more honest conversation around money is going to emerge, and not one that implies that we all need to be earning increasingly more money, because for most of us, that's not the solution. Just like an airplane doesn't just go up and up and up and up and up. An airplane goes up, finds its cruising altitude, cruises at that altitude, and then goes down to its perfect destination. It's the same with money. Yes, sometimes increasing your income is really important and helpful and fun, but we can also help you find your cruising altitude, so you don't constantly have to fall into the trap of I need to earn more money, because that for most of us is very stressful. What if you just always had lots of money? What if you always knew how to create the financial resources for anything that you wanted?
What are the biggest lies that we've been told about money?
Yeah. So many things are coming to mind. I think a really big lie is that it's shallow and that it's just a surface thing. And so many of us, especially, you're in the yoga space. And I would actually love to ask you a question about that in a moment back, if I may. But I think especially many of us who are spiritual and who want to be good people and who care about the planet and care about other people, we can look at money and we can think, well, that's it's show offy, and it's, we get this icky feeling and we don't even really want to associate with it much. But that is the old money paradigm. And when we begin to see money as a form of love that flows, as a natural resource that flows, then, hopefully we can begin to see money in a different way. But yeah, I would love, especially for yogis and conscious people, to begin to see money in a different way, and to begin to see how having lots of money is actually very healthy. Just like having lots of physical energy, just like having lots of creative energy, just like having lots of wonderful, loving relationships. Like money is a resource that we can use to live really good lives and do really good things. And many of us just kind of shut that down because we assume that money is like, ugh, this disgusting thing, and makes us shudder, and we don't even really know why.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was just thinking the other day about the Maui fires and so on. And I was thinking about like how powerful money can be, because like the more money I was thinking truly about, if I had like at this current moment more money, I could donate more. And that, like, I was just thinking about that moment again, like how powerful money is, and that money is so much more than about the lifestyle that you have and what you can afford or what you can build and so on. So, and it's truly like about the impact that you can make in the world. And I find, especially for spiritual people who, or also, I'm also a life coach, and I did this weekend life counseling teaching. It's like a very long diploma thing. We're talking about it. And we're talking about that, especially people also in the social sectors and so on, that they feel like they want to do good, and it's all about giving and giving and giving, and that's truly their passion. And they have the biggest topic with taking. And it's always a give and take, otherwise you burn yourself out. And the taking in that case is very often through money, because you give your knowledge, your skills, your questions, like all your experience, and you take in exchange money. And I was thinking a lot about this weekend, and especially us women. And I feel like in the yoga space, I work with a lot of yoga teachers, and I feel like there's a big consciousness already about my time and effort is worth money. And so that is like demanded. And I find that very, very good. But then I feel like there's a glass ceiling about how much can I ask for my services. And I feel there it's still very linked to time. And it's as if, like, this 1 hour cannot be more than this and that. But what's missing is this 1 hour is a combination of 10 years of experience, 10 years of educations, and so on. And this 1 hour is all the books that you read, all the things that, and also 1 hour of, no matter if it's a life coaching or yoga class or whatever, is also all the things that you can impact the person. Like, okay, maybe it's just an hour of your time, but if in this hour you can truly change somebody's life, like how much is that worth? And I feel like so often money is still tied to time. And I think that's a conversation or a perspective that needs to change, because it's not how much do I charge for this hour? And it's more like, how much do I charge for the impact that this hour or this day, if it's like a workshop, or a week, if it's a retreat, whatever it is, how much impact will I do in your life with that? And how much is that worth?
I think you touched on something really important. And earlier I mentioned that it's also very important to learn timeless money best practices. And some of those timeless money best practices are learning sales and marketing. Not all of my clients are in business, but all of us are in sales. And I believe that all of us need to know how to communicate to others the value that we can bring and exactly how we can benefit their lives. And it really doesn't matter whether you're in business or you're in a job, because you're always in a way selling yourself and selling what you have to offer. Even, trying to get your kids to bed is like a form of sales. And so I believe that learning this and mastering this is really important. And so if in the yoga sphere, the current approach is to trade money for time, in a way we are misrepresenting what we are doing. Because imagine a yoga teacher helps a yoga student through a Kundalini meditation to fix their anxiety, or maybe they give them an adjustment that really helps them heal their back, or for the first time they experience a sense of mental clarity and a sense of actual peace from the endless mindless chatter, and they actually know how to bring that into their lives in a consistent way, like that is very specific value that they are providing. And so if we don't communicate that in an effective way, in a way we are misrepresenting our work. Misrepresentation is both gloating, exaggerating. That is often what's going on in the business and money sphere, that many of us are like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to, be that person. But misrepresentation is also making yourself smaller and holding back and not saying exactly what it is that you provide. And so it's a false sense of modesty. And in a way, I'm going to be so blunt to say that that is also a version of lying, of not telling people the whole truth about what it is that they're receiving. And so maybe in the yoga space, it is also, important to kind of embrace the marketing sales aspect and to communicate in a different way exactly what somebody receives from that. But those are all things that none of us were taught, right? Like we grow up in like the old money paradigm. We see our parents, just don't like money regardless of how much money we had as a family. And we get all these weird messages around money, and we know we need to embrace it because we can't escape it. And it's just this thing that just never really feels good. And then we also don't learn the money best practices that can make money really abundant and easy and fun and joyful. And that allows for win-win situations. One of the things that we also do in Money Bliss is we set up our businesses and our lives so that everybody gets a benefit, because that is how love works. Love always flows in all directions. If you give, but love doesn't flow back to you in the form of money and joy and, like positive things back, then that's not really a loving situation. Love always needs to include and liberate everybody involved.
Absolutely. Oh, that's beautiful. And it comes back to self-worth. It's again, like, no matter if you have a business and you're now like asking for your services for a certain amount, or if you're if you're in an interview for a job and you're asking, okay, like, what should your paycheck be and what should your monthly salary be? Like at that point, it's like, it comes down to what you feel your work is worth, because it's actually not you as a person. Also, that I think is a very important distinguish to make, that it's never like we are always endlessly worthy, and that if this number, whatever, is just about the work that we're doing. And I think that's also very, very important to see that it never has anything to do with us as human beings. But what I wanted to ask was, I've experienced this very often, and I also heard you say that once people who are in lack of money, who are in a financial hole, once they like decide to, okay, I'm ready to get out of it, I'm ready to change my financial situation, this hole gets deeper and deeper, and it gets harder to get out of it. Why is that?
Yes. So most of us are being taught to pursue our goals from a place of wanting, from a place of needing, from a place of yearning. We live in a world where we're constantly being taught to be dissatisfied. Go on social media. It's like, look like this, have abs like that, be like rich like them, have the car and the house and the kids and the marriage and da 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 da, right? Like anybody else go on social media and it feels like you're being sold the life that you should be leading. And so we're constantly being like put in this place of dissatisfaction, and that is a great place to sell to us from, because then we'll buy everything, right? Like that's like part of what capitalism and consumerism needs for us to participate in. That is this constant feeling of not good enough. And so, just like, first of all, anybody who's like listening who always feels not good enough, it's not you as a person, it's something that you've been socialized to feel, and that's constantly being reinforced in the society that you live in. I know many people say like, this feeling of not good enough is like personal. To some extent it may be, but it's also a bigger collective thing that we're being trained in. And so I just lost my train of thought. Can you remind me of the question?
Yeah, it was when you have like a financial hole, and when you are in lack of money, and when you decide that I'm going to change that, and then somehow this hole gets deeper. And you were talking about that if we set goals that we're kind of like, we want to have that, but this is still kind of like a lack mentality.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I have like 15 gazillion things on my mind.
I understand there's so much to cover in this topic. It's so fascinating. And maybe we even need to do a part 2 to dive even deeper into the topic. So
I would
so
love
understand.
that. Money is such a complex thing. And like I discovered all of this just on my own journey. And I've worked with like tens of thousands of people. And so every time I work with a new client, like I'm learning more and more and more about money. So sometimes my brain is like this gigantic map of like all this information that I want to like distill down and relay. But like the next thing that I wanted to share with you guys to really help you understand why when we're in a hole, doing more yearning and wanting and needing and craving and doing as we're being taught to do doesn't really fix it. It's because the energy that we're coming from is an energy of lack. And lack actually creates a space inside of us, this energetic space that manifests more lack. So the energy that you embody is the energy that I'll picture in your life all around you. This is why it's really important in my work to kind of fill you in with all the positive qualities. We need to fill you in with a sense of contentment, satisfaction, abundance, overflow, joy, laughter, all of these like positive qualities, so that these will be the ones that you will radiate all around and that will show up as your life circumstances. And so coming from a place of like, it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough, will actually create more not enoughness. And so the step here to take is you need to just kind of ignore your external circumstances to some extent and understand that's really difficult to do. And it can feel absolutely insane to do that. But you need to fill yourself in with all the qualities that more money will bring you before the money shows up, and then it will show up. That's one of the biggest paradoxes. And so in a way you need to, some say pretend, but I do it with some energetic tools where we help. Like my clients are often like really happy and totally blissed out, and then everything else falls into place. And so we kind of need you to find that place of happiness and joy and bliss, I would even say, so that your money can follow suit. And so that your life can follow suit, and so that you can have those wonderful experiences. But like I said, we live in a society where the exact opposite is being reinforced. So it's really important to step out of that.
What I find so important about the topic of money, or what I find so beautiful about it, is that I feel like since it has numbers and it's measurable, I feel like it is something that, because it is a reflection of how much love can we hold, how do we see our self-worth, do we perceive ourselves, how much do we love ourselves. And I feel like it's this wonderful mirror or projection of it that is measurable. And that's why I find this conversation so important, because sometimes, we hear all these things about self-love and self-worth, and it's like these wishy-washy, yeah, okay, we all know we gotta love ourselves deeply, but then it's like, how do I know? Do I do, or do I not love myself, and so on? Or how do I know that I love myself this year more than last year? It's like very hard to measure. But with money, I just gotta look at my bank account, and I see with the numbers there, or with my monthly paycheck, I do see, is this something that I should have a look on, or is this something that seems to be like in flow and is not something that I need to dive in deeper. So thank you so much for sharing, and truly thank you so much also for opening up this conversation for us women. I find this so, so important, and that's why I truly love the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Hannah.
I want the listener to really go away with something like that they can do. So what would be like simple steps that they can implement in their life, in their routines, in their maybe also certain affirmations, or a certain belief that they could install that they shift their relationship with money?
One of the things that I believe is really important is that we learn how to set the right money stretch goals for ourselves and actually implement them. And so I don't mean the goals that society tells you to implement, or the goals that are, amazing in your line of work or in your industry, but really the right goals for you as a person in the current phase of life that you're in. And what I touched on earlier are soul money numbers. And so I think it's really important for everybody to figure out their soul money numbers. There's a couple of money numbers that we work in Money Bliss. It's your perfect income number, your perfect profit margin, your perfect savings, and then your perfect net worth money number. And so we can just now find out one of those numbers. So we can start with your income number. And so there's this feeling of truth in your body where if something is right for you, it feels really light and doable and fun, and like everything clicks into place. And so you can just take a piece of paper now and just write down a couple of potential and income numbers. Anything that comes to mind. It can be, some of them should be like smaller than what you think you should be earning, and some of them should be bigger than what you think you should be earning. And one of my first money income soul numbers was 6,200. And so that was just the perfect number where my entire body kind of sighed this breath of this like sigh of relief. And it took me like a week to implement it. Whereas before, like I never reached my goals, because like the money soul numbers that are perfect for you, they're actually really easy to implement. So write down a couple of numbers and then use the feeling of truth in your body to find which one feels right. And your mind might tell you some like wonky numbers like 12,354, or whatever number comes to mind. And then begin to find your soul money numbers. And then if you want support on how to reach them and implement them, there's two resources. One is the Money Bliss Subliminal. It's an audio track that helps rewire your subconscious mind to always implement your money goals, manifest lots of money, and always live congruently with your goals. You can receive that for free on my website. And then if you want a more tangible guidance on how to manage your money and implement your soul money number, you can pick up my book, Wealth from Within. There's also a link on my website on where to order it. It's a really great overview of the Money Bliss method and already gives you some money best practices that you can start with.
Perfect. I will link everything in the show notes and the description. And I will for sure myself also let's start listening to your subliminals. I love to work with subliminals. They're so powerful. And to you, I wanted to say congratulations to your book. That is so amazing. And thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom with us, for this beautiful conversation. And as said already, for opening up to us women to make it totally normal to talk about money. Because I mean, like, it's like to stand up to the standard that we want to live, and that for that we do need money. Like, we live in a material world where we do need to not only like make means end, but maybe we want to donate, make an impact in the world, and so on. For that we do need money. So thank you so much for having this conversation and for the beautiful being that you are.
Thank you, Hannah. It was a joy talking to you today.
Now, I would like to know from you, what was your biggest takeaway and how can you put it into action starting now? Leave a comment below or hop over to Instagram at HannahWiz_ and leave a comment under the post of today's episode. Thank you so much for watching, and never forget to shine your light.